That sound like
Yes, in fact, this is the lens, the cornea, the lens. Vitreous humor would be here, and we're getting all the way to the back, and now we're getting to the back wall, and this is what we want to see, right? This is a wonderful slide. Because we can see the layers of the retina here, we can see the choroid here, and probably we can see the sclera if we move it. Okay, sclera, choroid, and neural layer, retina, retinal layer. And so this area is called the optic disc, right? Because this is the
Optic nerve.
optic nerve leading the eye. And it's also physiologically it's called a blind spot because there are no photoreceptors. And you can see all there are axons from the Hey, you guys, sounds good. Okay, so you can't see anything here because these are the receptors. So now we're going to look at the retinal layers and see them in a little more detail because we want to see the 3 cell types, which would be 3 cell types for the retina. What would you call them? Yes, that's right. Okay, so this is sclera, this is choroid, and here we have the retina. Beautiful slide because this is, the retina, remember, has 2 parts, a neural part and the pigmented epithelium. So it has a single-celled pigmented epithelium into which the parts of the photoreceptors are suspended. And these are the photoreceptors from here to here. These are the nuclei of the photoreceptors. There's a huge number of photoreceptors, a lesser number of bipolar cells. This is the nuclei of them. So they're parts, there are 2 processes here that makes them bipolar and nuclei. And this process synapses with the ganglion cells. And the ganglion cells are special because they're axons. Right. So you got that, right? Yes. Good. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. So let's see if this looks familiar. We are looking at, okay, so what are we looking at here? Cochlea, right? The cochlea. It goes around 2.5 turns of the cochlea, and this is the cochlea, the part that turns 2.5 turns, so it repeats as a result of that. But if we look at this, we see what is the essence of hearing, because this is where the hearing receptors are, and this is kind of light, and then when I darken it, you don't see quite. I don't know. It's not the great. You know what? I can make it out just about over here. Let's see what happens on the next hour. Nothing. Really? Okay, that's something I can try and focus on. Okay. Okay, that's not. I'm trying to make it better for the practical, but really you can see the elements of it. So remember the cochlea, which coils around, but we uncoil it. Within the cochlea, within that bony cochlea, there is a membranous labyrinth called the cochlear duct. And within the cochlear duct, sitting on the basilar membrane, are hair cells, are cells with microvilli and a cilium that ordinarily are held by tectorial membrane, and the movement of the basilar membrane from the vibration from the from the sound waves. The movement of the causes the movement of those hair cells, but they're held by the tectorial membrane, and that kind of movement opens ion channels, causes an action potential, and action potentials are generated and go off to the temporal lobes of the brain. So this is the cochlea and the cochlear duct. This is the tectorial membrane, but in many of our slides, the tectorial membrane has flipped. It should have been down here where the hair cells are, but it's flipped. So this is what would hold the hairs of the hair cells. You can recognize it a little bit from its look, but it's flipped. And the basilar membrane and the vestibular membrane, the scala vestibuli, the scala tympani, cochlear duct, those are the major things. Okay. Then we've got, something similar, but, let's see it here. Something similar, I'll go back. Because this is also here, but this has been, so we have the cochlea, and actually we can recognize part of it, but we've got this on because we want to see, a special receptor that is here. And so we were looking at hearing receptors before in the cochlea, but in the semicircular canals, we have this receptor whose hair cells are over here and whose hairs protrude into this cupula. And so the semicircular canals, this is like a twirling kind of cartwheel kind of thing where you're rotating. This is rotational acceleration. And as you move, the hair cells move differently from the cupula and have an action potential. This is called the crista ambularis, the crest of the ambula. This rising crest, crista ambularis, containing the hair cells over here, and the hairs are inserted into, not a tectorial membrane, but here it's called a cupula, and that's a part of the cupula that you see over there. We have anything nicer. A little bit. Well, I guess you can see the cell a little bit, maybe a hair or two sticking out here, maybe a hair or two. Okay, crista ambularis, that's the semicircular canal receptors for rotational acceleration. Okay, and the last of our senses slides, I think, this is the last that I have here. Oh, I'm going to take this camera around and make it right side up. And we go to the very top of the structure here. Yeah, the tongue with its bumps called papillae. A little light for this guy. And so these are large papillae, and these are taste buds. So I don't know, it seems to be the best resolution I can get here. But within this taste bud, there are cells that have microvilli sticking out, and they will taste. They will respond to chemicals that come down this trough here and send back information about taste. So that's a pretty neat slide, I think. Right, that's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, and the rest are endocrines. Okay. So tell what gland we're looking at here. Yes, here. Okay. I noticed that the pancreas wasn't on Moodle, so I'm going to put one on tonight. Okay. So most of the pancreas is what kind of tissue? Makes digestive enzymes. It's exocrine. And these are units that make those enzymes, but scattered amongst them are islets, pancreatic islets, sometimes called islets of Langerhans. And they have several, like 3 or 4 different types of cells that secrete hormones. The 2 most famous ones are, the hormones from here are Glucagon and
Insulin.
Glucagon secreted by which cells? Alpha cells, and insulin from beta cells. Okay, good. Glucagon has an A in it that helps with alpha. And good. Then here's another one. So, anybody have any ideas on this guy? So to speak, this guy? Yes. Okay, so we see cross sections of, what are those tubules? Seminiferous tubules that are the sperm manufacturing part. There's like 500 feet of them inside a testis. It's amazing. And you can see there are a lot of them here. So we'll look a little closer. Maybe we can see some sperm in the making. So they start out from here, and by the time they get here, they're sperm. As far as endocrine goes, it's the tissue outside the tubules that secretes the hormone testosterone. So these are called interstitial cells that secrete testosterone. And what we see is well, kind of. These dark heads are the nuclei of the sperm, and probably under the microscope you can see a flagellum here, but these are all sperm that have just been made, having traversed the wall of the seminiferous tubules. Then they get released to the center when they're mature, kind of mature, and then they go off to the next part of the duct system. And that's probably this little bit. Yes. I'll quit while I was ahead. Okay. Okay. Get to the next one. And see what we've got here. What are we looking at? Ovary. Yes. This is the oocyte or the egg, and it's present in a follicle. Once you've got a cavity, it's a mature follicle or a grafted follicle or a vesicular follicle, one that's going to grow still further because they do get bigger, and then they open up and out comes the egg. That process is called ovulation. That's the release of the egg from its follicle. And we're interested in the hormones. The hormones are secreted by the cells around, called granulosa cells, if there's more than one layer, which there is at this stage. So these are granulosa cells, and they secrete which hormone? Estrogen. Estrogen. So remember estrogen here, testosterone the other one. Okay. And yeah, bigger ones here, getting closer to ovulating. And okay, good. Good on that. Now, this is a slide where chances are we are going to be right in the middle of a kidney, and there are those kidney tubules, the ones that get clogged with hemoglobin if there's an Rh incompatibility. But we want to get out of the kidney all those tubules. Let me see where it is. And find which gland? Adrenal. They mean the kidney. So here it is. Okay. About to do it. Let's see. Yes, that's it. Okay. So the kidney is here, and the adrenal gland is here. So we're going to look for 3 layers in the outer part. The outer part is called the cortex. And we're going to look for 3 layers with 3 different kinds of hormones, and in the inner part, 1 layer. Okay. And I'm looking at the time. I'm thinking, why don't I give you a sheet to pass, 2 sheets to pass around, in case you have to leave me still talking on slides, you'll get credit. So here, do this, pass it around, okay? And you guys will do this, pass it around. Okay, good. And so what we've got here, so the outer part's called the cortex, the inner part's the medulla. Do you have any trouble remembering that? Not yet. No, good. And this is the cortex, like the cerebral cortex. Okay, so the cortex has 3 layers that I can kind of see. There's a small layer here, it's darker. Then there is a layer of cells that are kind of all lined up, like cells in a fascicle. And then there's a networking layer over here. And right in the center, medulla. So we'll see them better, I think, on high power, or at least on maybe low power, that was scanning. Okay, first capsule, and that first layer is zona glomerulosa, and what's it make? What does it secrete? Hormone is aldosterone, which is a kind of mineralocorticoid, and it has to do with sodium and potassium levels. Good. So that's zona glomerulosa. Okay, so the layers are G and then what? F? R. How do you remember that?
Go fight raccoon.
You like that? Okay. G, go, fight. Fasciculata. And fasciculata reticularis, where it's more of a network rather than straight lines of cells. And fasciculata secretes glucocorticoids, right? And an example of that is cortisol. Good. Okay. Then the reticularis secretes androgen, sex steroids. Yes. And then we get the area of the blood vessels, stays a little darker. That's the adrenal medulla. And it secretes 2 hormones. What are they? You got it. NE and epinephrine. That's right. Norepinephrine, epinephrine. Okay. Fight or flight, right? Okay. That's pretty good. Oh, there's only 2 left. But we're making good progress here. Okay. Look at this one. Put on scanning. Okay, what is that? It's all right off? It's a gland with 2 different parts to it, right? Which is it? Pituitary, right? This is the posterior, this is the anterior. 2 hormones from here. Oxytocin. 2 hormones from here. Okay, you wouldn't have any trouble coming up with that. Okay, good. And last one. Recognize this guy? Only one gland that looks like this, and it's the thyroid, right? You call this material colloid, and it has in it thyroglobulin, which will form the thyroid hormone in the follicle cell. Okay. It also makes calcitonin in the parafollicular cells, but they're very hard to see. Oh, and in addition, there's another gland on this slide, and it is parathyroid. Here it is, okay? So, on the exam, I'm going to put it on a lower power. On the exam, if I give you parathyroid, I'm going to make sure there's a little thyroid here. So, you won't have any problem. You see this, and I say, what's that? And it's parathyroid. It secretes parathyroid hormone PTH, which does what to what? It does, what is it? Increases blood calcium. Perfect. You got that? Okay, good. Good luck. Keep studying. You'll see a large majority of these next week. Okay.